One of the things that every math teacher requires is when you are doing a sort of calculation that involves multiple numbers or gets it in any way complicated. If you're doing anything in a math problem that is beyond memorization, simple times tables or simple ways of knowing how patterns work, you always have to show your work. We had the SMSA students here this morning. Church was filled at 8:10 this morning, and it was so fun to talk with them about showing their work. For the kids that are in the middle elementary grades, that means like borrowing and carrying the one. You got to do that, or else there's no way for the teacher to know if you understand the problem. And when you get into algebra, that gets even more important. You cannot just come to an answer. You have to show your work. Often, we will celebrate significant anniversaries here at St. Mary's. Often, those moments occur right on this very rug on which I'm standing right now. We'll have a couple that's been married 40 years, or 50 years, or 60 years come, and maybe they want a blessing. Maybe they'd like to renew their vows, but it's always beautiful. And I can't help but ask them in every situation, tell me, what's the secret to 40 years or 50 years or 60 years or whatever it is? And they always say, it's a lot of work, Father. It's work. It's work. A lot of you say that with a knowing that I don't even have. Single people can't know that kind of work. I was talking with a woman not too long ago who had survived an anxiety disorder for years. She's now in her 90s. But she had 5 children in the middle of what we used to call a nervous breakdown. Doctors now know that she suffers from a chemical imbalance that has afflicted her throughout her life. The only way that she's been able to survive, she told me, is through a lot of therapy, medication, and being part of a recovery group to help her with this disorder. And what she said to me was, you got to do the work, Father. I had to do the work. It doesn't come easy, she said. I might have been a prisoner of my illness, but once I figured out that I could do the work and have some freedom, that changed everything. That's really what Lent is all about. It's about doing the work. There's an author, spiritual author, who says, beautiful people do not just happen. They are made, they are forged by a lifetime of decisions. Some people are wizened and incredibly wise, and some of our elders, if you look in their faces, you see the lines of wisdom and deep knowing, and they have a kindness to them. And other people are the same age, but they're just old. They're not necessarily wise the way that those others are, because beautiful people don't just happen. They're forged by one choice after another, after another, after another. And that's what Lent is all about. It's about deciding to take this time, whether it is coming at a convenient time or whether it is coming at a very inconvenient time in your life, to take this time and to say, I'm going to use it to become the most beautiful version of myself. I know that God made me in the divine image. I am made in God's own image. And so I am capable of incredible beauty, but I have to do the work. Because beautiful people don't just happen. It's a cooperation between us and God. God gives us everything we need to work with, but then we have to do the work. Mother Teresa was once asked, what is holiness? How do you know if you're with a holy person? What does holiness mean? And she said, holiness is when your inside and your outside match. When the way you are inside and the way you act outside, when they match, that's holiness. So that's what Lent is for, to become more holy. It's why it's always described in the prayers in the Roman Missal as our campaign of holiness. It's a campaign we go on for 40 days. And it has 3 components: relationship with God, relationship with others, and relationship with ourselves. There's 3 tasks that we have, and each of them is designed to help one of those areas. The first is relationship with God. You are at church on a Wednesday night. That's not something we normally do. Some Protestant groups do that pretty regularly, but Catholics don't come to church on Wednesday nights. But in Lent we do. In Lent we often come back for the Stations of the Cross on Friday too. We do all sorts of things that we don't normally do, because this is a time of seriousness. We're going to do the work. So we're going to pray more than we normally do. So the way we improve our relationship with God is through prayer and going to church more, setting time aside in our day to pray. All of that is a huge part of growing in our relationship with God. If you choose to join us on Friday night at 6:15, we're going to be going around through 14 different moments in Christ's hardest day of his life, the day he gave his life for us on Good Friday. We're going to actually take that whole day apart into 14 different sections and pray about it. That's something that we don't do every day. But in Lent, we're going to focus more on our relationship with God. We also work on our relationship with others. The term the church uses for that is almsgiving. But when I was talking about it with the kids at school today, it's very simple. Share. We have to share. I don't think any of us have been watching the news this week without feeling like, oh my gosh, this is unbelievable. There's a feeling within us, I have to do something. And there's a lot that we can't do. But there's some things we can. And so we're going to put links on our parish platforms for Catholic Relief Services has a Ukraine fund. So much, it's the most reputable organization I know of for charity. So much of that money is going to go directly to the people in Ukraine. So we're going to post that for you. The Ukrainian Red Cross has a website that is secure and wonderful. A member of the Peace Corps serving in the Ukraine sent me that site. So we're going to make sure that you have access to those. Giving to people who are suffering in Ukraine, that's a beautiful way to grow in our relationship with others. To realize that there are Ukrainian Americans living right here in Glens Falls. And even if we don't have a drop of Ukrainian blood in us, we're members of the human race. Finally, we're called to have an improved relationship with ourselves. And the way we do that is counterintuitive. It's kind of like how some people who really love and care about themselves set their alarm for 3 hours before everybody else and go for a long run. How people who really care about themselves sometimes drink green blended drinks out of a NutriBullet. People who care for themselves sometimes appear to not be treating themselves very well. But that's what fasting is all about. Denying ourselves certain things. Realizing that maybe my habit, though it's benign really, nothing wrong with having a Dunkin' Donuts every 3 o'clock on a weekday afternoon. But maybe there's something I could learn if I don't do that for 40 days. Maybe I could learn something if I train myself a little bit to not just listen to the craving that might say, try this, stop there, go over here. Maybe I might take the few bucks that I was going to put into that daily habit for 40 days and put it into the rice bowl and know that it's making a difference. Relationship with God through prayer. Relationship with others through sharing. Relationship with ourselves through discipline. Beautiful people are all around us. So many are here tonight. And all of us want to grow in our potential and becoming as beautiful as God made us to be. But beautiful people don't just happen. They are forged, one Lent at a time.